Good morning. I am Dr. Rahul Singh, pediatric neurologist. I work at Evelina Children's Hospital, London, and I'm also chair for the Inherited White Matter Disease Specialist Interest Group in the UK. So in my talk, if you hear a lot of I did this, please assume it's not I, it's we. And this we includes a lot of people which will be acknowledged in the talk. So for the wider, I know there are a lot of experts in leukodystrophy in this audience, but I just wanted to explain what is inherited white matter disease, what is leukodystrophy. You see one cell, this is it's not moving on this. So nerve cell, one cell, it has head, body, tail. The body gets covering on top, which we call it myelin. One nerve cell is connected to another nerve cells, and they make a network, and there are millions of them. There are billions of network. So there's no mouse moving. So you see the cell oligodendrocytes. They are the cell which covers the body of the nerve cells. This is called myelination. You have cells which are baby OPC, oligodendrocyte progenitor cells. They mature and they start doing the function they are supposed to do. They start developing from the age, very early stage, from one part of the brain, other parts of the brain, and they migrate. And if you look at the number of factors or stages they have to go through, there are stage-specific signals, there are stage-specific antigens, so things could go wrong at any stage. And even if your covering myelination for primary myelination is complete by the first 2 years of life, you continue to keep the health of your myelin in your adult age, any age. So it is most of the inherited white matter disease is a disorder of white matter. It gets worse over time. You might not see the progression immediately. They can have a relapsing remitting course, but it is something which gets worse over time. So previously, when we didn't have these facilities, they have described about these conditions from 1885. The description of that condition, PMD, is very accurate. Then from histology, we were moved to an era where we had enzymes. In the 80s and 90s, we were aware of few leukodystrophies, but the important thing was majority of them remained undiagnosed. And then we all know Professor Vanderknapp's work and her work on the MRI scan, that started changing things, and we were entered into a genetic era where we started getting answers for a lot of things. Initially, there were selected gene panels done in selected centers. Now we have a wider gene panel, and most of they are genetic. There is a heredofamilial inherited white matter diseases. So we are getting to know. Still, in our experience, we feel around 50% of the patients, they remain undiagnosed. And we are getting to know about new genetic conditions, and I think that is going to expand further. So if we just say that white matter disease is because of the problem in myelin, I don't think that will be the right thing to do. So this is astrocyte. Astrocyte does an important function to communicate between one nerve cells to another nerve cells, and there are other cells in the brain which looks after your nerves. They will clear the debris. These are called microglial system. And you see how the blood vessels are closely linked with these special cells around the nerve cells. So Amsterdam team, Professor Bugiani, Nicole, Marjo Vanderknapp, all of their names which I'm talking about, they are all inspirational people. And the new classification is not just based on myelin. You can have problem with your astrocytes. These are the conditions. You can have problem with the blood vessels interacting with astrocytes, or there's a myelin disorder. So the diseases are expanding. We are getting to know about them better, and we are understanding about them better as well. But what we didn't have in UK, everyone, I know the expertise of Evangeline or Ming or John, they know about it, but how do we bring them together? So this is one of my patients. Fia, I have done this journey of inherited white matter disease with her. She was my first patient as a consultant with Alexander's disease. She presented at 12 to 14 months of age. It took 2.5 long time for her to get to the diagnosis, and look at the things she went through. Seizures, frequent falls, drop attacks, vomiting, treatment. Everyone knew, but there was not, I felt there has to be someone, somewhere. Treatment shouldn't be center-specific, it should be patient-specific. And she'd been to Philadelphia, had met with Amy there, Dr. Amy Waldman there. She was recruited in natural history studies. It took her time to get to the diagnosis. And this is a rare, fatal, dominant missense mutation in GFAP gene. This is a downstream dysfunction. I met her with her just 2 days ago. She's doing well, but I think it has taken a long time for her to be able to get into the trial. And that was my personal journey. But this man, John Livingston, he has just retired, but we are not letting him retire. We won't let him retire. He has been a mentor, guide for a lot of people. I learned, he taught me, he has taught Lydia, and generation of neurologists, not generation, like a lot of neurologists, we used to look up to him if there was inherited white matter disease patients, we should all be thankful to Professor John Livingston. Along with him, it was Jeremy Chatway, Alex TLC, Ming Lim. There are people who have worked together, Alistair Parker, and we for the last 10 years, this proposal of having a new service was discussed with NHS England. It went through so many regulation meetings. Ultimately, in March 2023, NHS England approved, commissioned a highly specialist service dedicated to inherited white matter diseases. So currently there are two types of, one is inherited white matter disease clinical service, and then the other is inherited white matter disease registry service. We have 3 pediatric centers. One is based in London, which Evelina and Great Ormond Street Hospital is going to do it together. Birmingham and Leeds, Manchester, and we have one adult center as a center in Queen Square, and this is an all-age national registry service, which you see. I'm going to show you a bit more about that. So the team in the service team is pediatric neurologist, metabolic physician, neuroradiologist, geneticist, genetic scientist, neuropsychologist, CNS, and a database person, which is there for all 3 centers. And this is the logo for registry, which was designed by Alex TLC. And these are the people who will be leading the service in their respective lot. So London bit is me and Dr. Cheryl Hemingway. Ming and Dr. Ming Lim and Yale, they are our backup. Lot 6 registry service will be hosted by Evelina Children's Hospital, Birmingham, Evangeline Wasmer, Amitav, and Anu, and Manchester Leeds with John. John will be there everywhere, but Lydia is the person from Leeds, Deepak from Manchester, and then the main hub for adult IWMD service will be based at Queen Square with David Lynch, where Jeremy will be part of it, and they spoke that this has been confirmed now. So there will be Salford, Leeds, and one more place, Birmingham. So that will be the spoke model for the adult team. So the model will be something referral we can get from anyone. There is already existing highly specialized services in the UK, lysosomal storage disease service. This service is not aimed to take over service from other centers. It is to promote, collaborate, use their experience, and improve the local service provision for patients near their home. So, but wherever the referral comes from, ultimately the information has to be entered into the clinical registry. So there are levels of level 1, 2, and 3 and 4. So level 1 will be patient has been referred to you, you discuss it in MDT, you give the feedback immediately back, this is not a leukodystrophy, or you do some more information and we'll get back to you. Level 2 will be more involvement, patients will be discussed in MDT, feedback needs to be given by 2 people, geneticist, neurologist, or neurologist, metabolic person, you do it virtually. Level 3 is one-stop face-to-face with multidisciplinary team and other professionals involved in the discussion. So we aim to see them face-to-face. So this is our model for the London one. Just to highlight one thing, since November 2022, there have been 69 overall patients being referred to the service. 54 patients were discussed in MDT. NHS England wanted us to have 30 new patients. In last 6 months, we have seen around 54 patients. So patients are there, and we might be able to provide good service. This is the referral pro forma, which they have to send it to us. And once the pro forma is populated by the MDT coordinator, we have an excellent fellow, Nina. She will put the outcome and discussion on the pro forma. This pro forma goes back to the referring physician. This pro forma won't be sent to the patients directly because of the information, but if we have to talk to patients, a letter will go to them with all the information. And where all these information will be fed into the National Registry, which is a national service. It's a cloud-based application hosted by NHS England Safe Site, that is Arden and James CSU. They host other registries as well. This is a unique registry. It's a clinical registry. It is clinician-driven and patient-driven. So most of the registries you have is for research registries and other things, but we think the model of this registry will be unique. It is the primary aim of this registry is to improve the clinical care or clinical provision in the UK. Yes, there are secondary aims as well, and this will help us facilitate research and patient participation in treatment studies. This will be, so this is, I don't know if it's clear, but there are different sections which needs to be filled in. You need key medical information, current treatment, follow-up medical info section, and they are quite in detail. And what we were thinking that if there is an MRI scan which needs to be, every information needs to come to the registry, we will do it in a way that we can study it later on. That includes genetic investigation as well, and what current treatment patient is on. And the important thing what I wanted to show you, that there is an option for patient to report their function, how they are feeling, how are they doing in the last 30 days. Is there anything, this is not an emergency service, but if we find it that this population is having these problems, there will be a case for this to be promoted through proper agencies and improve their service provision. It will be monitored very carefully. There will be a registry steering group, development committee, and 4 times a year there will be a national clinical meeting as well, where all of the IWMD centers, we will discuss the patients, talk about research and other things. So this has been planned, and it will be monitored and undergo a strict governance protocol, whatever we have to do. So this is our inherited white matter disease registry service. There will be some the pilot was done. There were some technical difficulties. We have worked on it, and I think we will move forward, and it's very futuristic. So last bit of my talk, I went to Philadelphia this time. I participated in GLIA conference, met with a lot of inspiring people there as well. This was the landscape in 2019 where this is the heat map. They were talking about 9 or 10 diseases, and in 2022 you see it's almost 20 diseases. For each and every, there are different leukodystrophies. For each and every leukodystrophies, you have international or collaborative working group, and see the amount of work they are doing. And it was inspiring, and we have everything. We just need to bring everything together. And this first step has been taken, and I think way to work forward will be in collaboration, and we need to set up patient advocacy group, which LXTLC, parents group, they have been instrumental in giving us that feedback and providing that structure. Helen is going to talk about this. We need to have a good standard diagnostic tool, understand the natural history of our population, and we'll get there. And there are a lot of treatment advances happening. These are disease-specific information. One thing I remember from Amy's talk, from that test safety and efficacy in the smallest number of patients. That is really important. Just because these treatments are coming, that doesn't mean we have to adopt this treatment for our patients. We need to make sure it's absolutely safe. And yes, these treatments are important, but equally important is supportive and symptomatic treatment. How best we can optimize that and give them a better supportive care, symptomatic care. And we do know about Alexander's disease, and there are other conditions as well where the new treatment is coming up. Professor Nicole Wolf's group, they have been working on this Pelizaeus-Merzbacher disease. You see the disease spectrum is expanding in our experience in the last 3 years. The new genes are coming up, and the spectrum is getting bigger. So there are treatment strategies which has been adopted. I had a recent conversation with her. There is a new deferriprone trial which they were going to start. And most importantly, they have been doing that, and we have to draw inspiration from them and somehow try to work collaboratively with them. So, and Aicardi-Gouttier syndrome, John is not here today, but a lot of work he has done along with Professor Crow, and there are 2 treatment trials happening in the UK at the moment, but there are other trials which has happened internationally as well. So we don't need to talk about that in detail, but just to summarize that these are the current trials of therapy for inherited white matter diseases happening in the UK. Alexander's disease trial is in Gosh. LibMendy gene therapy is happening in Manchester. And there are all other things which is in sort of discussion and ongoing discussion about, I'm in Philadelphia. I saw Professor Eichler. I emailed him after coming back to me, and he said, Rahul, let's set up a meeting. We had a chat, and believe me, it felt as if, okay, people are there to collaborate and help you. And he said, let's see how we will monitor your progress in 3 months' time, 4 months' time, we'll see again how things are. And I was so happy to see him here as well. So there are other conditions where things are being tried, new treatment is happening. We need 1 center in the UK. We don't need 5 centers for 1 disease, as long as we have 1 center participating in trial thing. And as a chair for SIG, we will promote that. We will make sure that things are happening. And not the least, we couldn't have done it without you, Karen and Sarah. So the amount, and Helen, where is she? So the amount of information and the meetings we have, oh my God, we get 20 emails, and then trying to figure out, okay, what is the best way, what is the right way to put it there? Great work, amazing work. And I think we are in full support. Whatever needs to be done, we will do it for LXTLC. Thank you very much.